Hey everyone and welcome. If you're a new sales hire, massive congratulations on entering the field. Consider this explainer your official, hands-on orientation playbook. We're going to dive deep into the source material behind the FOCAS method and, honestly, completely change the way you look at a sales call. We're breaking down exactly how to conduct high-value discovery calls that don't just, pitch your product, but actually solve complex business problems. So grab your notepads because we're getting right into the mechanics of what makes a top-tier sales professional today.
Right out of the gate, I want to start with this incredibly provocative quote from sales expert Marc Miller. He says, "Selling is dead." Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, I literally just got hired for a sales job. What do you mean selling is dead? Well, what Miller means is that traditional, transactional selling, yeah, that's dead. In what we call the new economy, showing up just to push a product will pretty much guarantee your failure. Today's buyers have infinite access to product info online. They really don't need you to just sit there and read a spec sheet out loud to them. They need a business partner who can actually diagnose their operations.
Okay, so here's our syllabus for this explainer. First, welcome to the new economy. Then, the 4 discovery call stages. Next, we'll role-play focus questioning, learn about dropping anchor for solutions, and finally, summarize and secure commitment. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the new economy.
Think about it like this. Look at the difference between these two approaches. If a prospect asks what you do, and you position yourself as a transactional organization by just saying, "We sell widgets," you're going to lose, instantly. But if you frame yourself around high-value outcomes and instead say, "We reduce manufacturing errors to decrease production costs," you immediately win their attention. You've completely shifted from selling a thing to selling a super valuable business result. Psychologically, this is massive. The buyer literally stops viewing you as an expense on their spreadsheet and starts viewing you as an investment that yields a real, measurable return.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 4 discovery call stages.
Here is the chronological sequence you are going to follow on every single discovery call. Step 1 is the approach. Step 2 is the core focus questions. Step 3 is the verbal summary, and Step 4 is the commitment. Now, without this specific chronological sequence, salespeople naturally just default to rambling, unstructured pitches based entirely on nerves. We've all been there, right? But this sequence forces discipline. It ensures you know exactly where you are and exactly what you need to accomplish at any given minute of your meeting.
Notice the incredibly strict time limit here. Step 1, the approach, should only take about 90 seconds. That's it. This is the positioning component of the call. In just a minute and a half, you absolutely must position your organization, establish the reason for the call, and answer that ultimate question we talked about: what business are you in? Remember our widgets versus outcomes example? Those first 90 seconds are where you prove you're a high-value adding organization, right out of the gate.
All right, let's get into the absolute meat of this training. Section 3, Role-Play Focus Questioning.
The F in FOCAS stands for fact questions. As a new rep, this is exactly where you start. You need to collect the baseline data, the facts, and the general context about the buyer's current operations. You're asking these just to understand if your offering is even applicable to their situation. So a fact question sounds something like this. How many distribution centers do you currently operate? Or maybe, what CRM software is your team using right now? But hey, I need to issue a massive warning right here.
The absolutely crucial point is this strict limit, 5 to 10. Do not, under any circumstances, spend more than 5 to 10 minutes on fact questions. Look, in the age of LinkedIn and Google, asking an executive basic operational data that you could have easily found online, it just makes you look utterly unprepared. It's really disrespectful of their time. If you sit there interrogating a senior leader with basic trivia, they are going to become impatient fast. Get your facts efficiently and move on.
Once you have those facts, you move to the O, objective questions. This is your ultimate tool to elevate the entire conversation. You use these to investigate the buyer's overarching goals, their real aspirations, and the specific targets they're actively trying to hit over the next 12 months. Pay close attention to the psychological shift happening here. You're moving away from boring operational data, and you are tapping directly into the buyer's emotional aspirations. You're finding out what ultimate success really looks like to them. Let's do a quick role play so you can hear it. Imagine you're sitting across from a VP of sales. You lean in, make solid eye contact, and ask, "What are your primary revenue targets for this year?" Notice the tone there? It's direct, it's totally confident, and it immediately forces the prospect to articulate their most important business objectives. You aren't talking about your product at all. You are talking about their vision.
Okay, now that you know their sunny, best-case scenario 12-month goals, it's time for the C, concern questions.
You got to uncover the specific frustrations, the roadblocks, and the bottlenecks that are actively preventing them from succeeding. And keep this locked in your mind. Friction creates buying intent. If there is literally no friction in their day-to-day operations, there is absolutely no sale to be made. None. You must find the pain points.
Let's jump back to our role play. You've heard their revenue targets, but you kind of know their logistics are a mess right now. So you shift your posture slightly, lower your voice just a bit, and ask, what challenges are you currently facing with your current supply chain? See, you are inviting them to vent. You're digging for a major operational bottleneck, like, say, inventory management, that you already know your company can absolutely solve.
And that sets us up perfectly for Section 4, dropping anchor for solutions.
The A stands for anchor questions. So you found a problem through your concern questions, right? Well, the amateur salesperson immediately jumps in and yells, "Hey, we can fix that." But the professional salesperson, they pause and they drop anchor. Here is a massive secret of high-level sales. Humans naturally minimize their own problems just to cope with them. Buyers rarely understand the full implications of their own bottlenecks. They know late shipments are bad, sure, but they haven't actually quantified the true financial damage. Your job as a salesperson is to pull the Band-Aid off so the buyer feels the pain enough to actually take action. You must drop anchor on that specific problem area to deliberately grow their dissatisfaction with the status quo.
So let's hit our role play again. The prospect just admitted their inventory system requires manual data entry. You drop anchor by asking, how much time does that data entry error actually cost your team each week? Boom. Now they aren't just thinking about a minor software glitch anymore. They are suddenly calculating wasted payroll hours right there in their head. You're making them feel the urgent, quantifiable severity of their own situation.
Which naturally leads us to the final letter, S, solution questions. Now that the prospect fully realizes just how badly they're bleeding, you gently guide them toward the cure. Solution questions develop the buyer's own recognition of the value and the tangible return on investment of what you offer. The psychology here is simple but incredibly profound. If you say it, it's a pitch. But if they say it, it's a fact. You want them to articulate the financial benefit of the solution themselves.
To conclude our little questioning drill, you look at the prospect who is now thoroughly distressed by the cost of all their manual errors, and you ask, if we could eliminate those bottlenecks entirely, how much would you save annually? Do you see how incredibly powerful that is? You aren't quoting a price. You are making them state the ROI of your partnership out loud. If this specific question is answered properly by the buyer, closing the deal becomes completely effortless because they have literally just sold the value to themselves.
Almost at the finish line now. Section 5, summarize and secure commitment.
This is step 3 of the overall call architecture we talked about, the verbal summary. And you have exactly 1 minute to do this. First, concisely restate the most significant problems and critical goals you literally just spent the last hour discussing. Second, ask the prospect if there's anything at all they want to add to that list. Third, ask them to rank and prioritize those critical issues. Listen to me on this one. If you skip this summary stage, you risk proposing an elaborate solution to a problem they don't actually prioritize. This 1 single minute guarantees complete mutual understanding.
And finally, step 4, the commitment. You have 30 seconds left on the clock. You don't ask for a vague follow-up here. You secure a clear, specific progression to the next step. Let's do one last role play to show a bad commitment versus a really good one. A bad commitment sounds like this. Great, well, I'll email you next week to touch base. Awful. A good commitment sounds like this. Let's open our calendars right now and book 15 minutes next Tuesday at 10 a.m. to review the formal ROI analysis with your engineering team. It must be specific, and it absolutely must go on the calendar.
And there you have it. We've covered the entire playbook from the 90-second approach right through the whole FOCAS framework, all the way to securing that final rock-solid commitment. The source material here really offers a profound shift in mindset, so I'm going to leave you with one final question to chew on as you digest this explainer. Will you just go out there and sell widgets, or are you ready to become a true business person who sells? The tools from this FOCAS playbook are now firmly in your hands. Get out there and apply them.